Hello all, it's me, Hannah. So I'm here to talk about Discord today and go over the basics and walk through our server. Think of it like an episode of MTV Cribs, but for your server. So, that being said, hello MTV, welcome to my crib. So, first things first, we're going to go over the bare basics of Discord and how to use it. There's a lot more that you can play with if you want. And remember, YouTube is also your friend in this case. So I like to explain Discord as if it was a series of buildings or servers. So these are servers that you have joined over on the left-hand side. So over here, over on the left, is where you have different options. So I'm in a few, like this is the one that my husband has, this is ours, I'm in a community one up there on the top. So the owner of the building can give keys to anyone. So you can join any server, but they have to allow you into it first. They can also designate other people capable of handing out keys. Those would be referred to as an admin and a moderator. An admin is the person who owns the building. A moderator is a person that they give access to more authority within the server and they get the keys. So it just gives you a little bit more range if you are a moderator, but you're also responsible for more in the server. So the owner is a server of whoever made it, and anybody can make a server, and you can make more than one. When you start, you'll have to have your own server that you're invited to, and obviously if you're in here, you got invited to this one. So inside each building or a server, there are going to be rooms called channels. So channels are not going to be these big boxes up here at the top. It's going to be the little ones that are subcategories underneath it. And the channels for the server you're currently listed, yep, they're going to be on the left. So there are two types of rooms. There are text channels like these, and then there are voice channels like these. So text channels are giant text chain typically visible to anybody with access to the server. Voice channels are similar to like a Zoom call where everybody in the call is on the same call. And there's a lot of customization possible once you're inside somebody's building. For example, there might be a text channel that you can read but not post. Those are often titled as something like announcements. So in our case, that would be up here in the welcome category under announcements. So I can post things, or moderators can post things, because we have more access and more authority, and those announcements will be posted there. And then there are also things called roles. These are designated by the owner of the building, and they determine how much access or authority a person has in the server or how many rooms they have access to. So that's just kind of a overarching idea. And then kind of, this is just how I like to say it. So these big parts here, like the voice channels, text channels, coven info, these are all things called categories. I like to think of categories almost as like a map. So when you're trying to figure out where you want to go or where you want to look at things, you can look at those and determine, okay, maybe I'm trying to talk to some people, maybe I should look in the text channel, or oh, I need some information about the next coven meeting, so maybe I should do coven info. And then it can kind of give you an idea of where in the building you need to be, if that makes sense. So a couple other useful tips that I like to give when you're starting with Discord. You can mute notifications from individual channels if you click on the right button over on the side. I don't know if it'll let me because, technically I'm also on my phone, so it might look a little bit different. I just held down on it and this popped up. You can mute the channel. So if you are getting annoyed, or if you're like, God, I just want to relax and I'm getting all these notifications from this one channel, but I still want to make sure I'm coming to meetings and stuff, you can mute that channel so you don't have to look at it or hear about it all the time. And then when you're inside of voice channels, you can click on other individuals in it and select different volume levels for different people, just in case somebody's a little too loud or too quiet, because everybody has different headsets and things like that. So to start, let's go over what roles we have in our server. So to start, we have gnomes. And actually, I'm going to try and pull it up to see if I can show y'all where the roles are, just to get that done. Sorry, y'all. I'm not super familiar with it all the time either. There we go. Roles. Okay. So the first one we have is going to be gnomes. So gnomes, these are bots. So bots are just people, or not really people. They are, they're just things that can help run the server a little bit more smoothly. So like, for example, and I'll show you guys where that is later, we have a bot that specifically helps with playing music in one of our channels. So they just make that run a little bit more smoothly. So our next role is the growth protector, which that would be me. That is going to be the admin of the server or the owner of the building. And then our next role are fairies. So these are going to be our managers, if you will. They're going to be your moderators. They have a little bit of extra authority and permission because they have been in the server or helped me make the server when we were getting our coven together. Those three are going to be Jelly, Katie, and Leah. So if you have any questions or have any other concerns, you can either go to me or those three. And then next we have Blossoms. These are members of our coven and have access to essentially all of our chats and our rooms in the server. So if it'll let me pull them up. Oh, yes, it will. So we have Jess, Nat, Bethany, Kel, Ray, and Rain. So, and that's just for now. And then following that, we have Acorns. These are our coven members who aren't able to make it to meetings, either other obligations, or they live out of the state. So the only chat they're not included in is just the meetings, just so that we were not spamming them with messages, because more times they're not often able to make it. So the chat can be reopened too if they want to join a meeting, just so we get clarification purposes though on how many people may or may not be coming. That's just a separate chat for them. And then our final role is Sprouts. So these folks are a part of our community, but not really involved within the coven. So these are people that we want to have in our community, want to have around, but they're not really in it for the spiritual aspect that we're in it. So they're a part of it. We hold community events all the time. So with that being said, let's get into the grove. So the first category on our map is going to be the welcome spot. So we have the overview. All this information too is going to be regardless of what role you've been assigned, at least for the overview. So the overroom is just going to be a description of each room. The rules are the rules for our server. We have introductions, which is a space for introductions for our new members, and any announcement for upcoming events or important information is going to be in this announcements tab. And we have a spot for bot spam. So that's just if it's needed. I don't even think that's going to be visible to most people, but regardless. And then we have coven info. So this is going to be everything that we have for astrology. So people can either post their astrology or talk about current astrology. And then the most important one, in my opinion, we have meetings. So this is going to be talking about any meetings or anything we want to do as a coven, as a group. We have a get to know us. This is like a bigger get to know you section. And then possible new members. This is where we talk about, like if there's any people that we're considering bringing into the coven, we can talk about it just so that way it's a little bit less awkward. So that way the people that are new aren't just like in there or see a chat talking and be like, hey, should we have this person? You all get the vibe. And then next we have our basic text channels. So this is open to pretty much all roles, and it's just a space for people to chat. So our Church in the Sex Basement chat is just a general chat. If you can't think of anything specific or know where to put it, just throw it in that one. But to get more specific, we have a space for games, art, memes, a book club, gardening, and then community events. And then we also have a space for voice channels. We just have two because it's not as popular as the text channels. And that's pretty much just going to be the two, which is the maidens are talking, and that's just a space for the girly pops to hang out. And then the music room, which is where we have a bot that plays music for us. And then just to make it go a little bit quicker, because I am coming up on fucking 10 minutes, the next three are all kind of similar. So the first one we have is spells. If you have any rituals or spells you want to share, talk about any affirmations you like to use, spell jars or candle magic. Second one is tarot. Readings is for all spreads or readings you've done lately. It also has a bot that asks questions for us every Sunday. You don't have to do the prompt and post it, but if you do want to post your results or what you got, please feel free. I need to get more on it myself personally, and I say that literally every time. But if you want to, go for it. And then the last one I have on here is, and then there's also the she's calling me out and I don't like it. That's just pretty much a space if you're like, I need more space to rant. That's a space you can do it. Runes we have on here. We don't have anybody right now in our coven who actually practices runes, but I do know a lot of people that use that in their daily lives. So in case we do get a person who is interested in using them, I'm keeping that as a space for them. Or if you are somebody who wants to give it a shot, feel free. Help. This section is just in case you have any questions about Discord. That's for the please help me. And then tips. This can be witchcraft tips if you want to give any help or give any guidance that you wish you had. And then the mod and the admin stuff, that's just a space for us in case we need to keep any extra information, extra things like that. So you don't really got to worry about that if you are not a mod or an admin. But that's pretty much it. Please feel free to play around on here too. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, feel free to jump in. Also, if you have a different role and you're like, why am I not seeing some of these things? Depending on what your role is, you might not have access to all of these chats. So just like I was saying at the beginning, some people have more access and more authority to the actual building than others, and that is going to be determined on what role you play in the actual community and or the coven. So that is all I have for right now. If also, you don't have to post whatever you are looking for specifically in a specific server if it's just becoming too confusing. Like I said earlier, push comes to shove, everything goes in the church and the sex basement log. Everything goes there. But also, I'm not going to get upset. Nobody will get mad if it goes into a different space. So that is all I have. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see ya later.